Welcome to the Reality of Herbal Therapy podcast. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the flu. We do this podcast about every year. We talk about the flu and stuff. And this year they're saying that the flu is worse than it has been before, and so many people are actually dying from it. So we want to help basically give you some ideas so you don't have to be afraid and to know with the flu. I know a few months ago I had a really bad headache, and I think I had the flu, and it was over within 6 hours because we know what to do, what to watch for, and what to do, and how to take care of it. So Scott just had the flu this last weekend.
Yep. I get sick on the weekend. I just plan it that way. I don't get sick during the week.
Got to make money, right? So we want to share your experience, Scott.
So, I noticed, actually, during the week, I noticed that I was starting to get a little bit stuffy or whatever. I noticed just the signs of, at night, my nose was a little more clogged, or my wife told me, you were snoring a lot last night. And I just noticed a couple of those things. So I started taking a little bit of Hayaz because I knew, hey, maybe it's just allergies. And so I started taking some of it. And then by the weekend, it was like, oh, this is not just allergies, and I started taking more Hayaz and some Throbbie. So basically, I noticed, whoa, my head hurts, my sinuses, I'm sneezing like crazy, my eyes are watering. This is just miserable. So I would take 3 of the Hayaz. I think I took about 9 the first day that I had it. And generally with Hayaz, our other Hayaz recipe, I would take 20 or more throughout the day, and it didn't do quite the same thing. When I did with this one, I could feel that.
So you're saying the new extra strength one?
The new extra strength one. I noticed that it took care of the headache a lot quicker, but I noticed that my sinuses, because of the way that it helped to take care of the mucus, I noticed that my sinuses were a little bit more dry. And with taking that quantity, I found I had to also swab my nose to be able to take that much Hayaz to get over it quickly, at least for me. So swabbing my nose, I'd get our Comfort Gold salve, and I got a Q-tip, and I put it on there, and you swab it around your nose. Now, for me, I can get this Q-tip all the way to the point that I'm just barely holding on to it. I can shove it all. If I had it long enough, I could feel it in the back of my throat. I can shove it in there so far. But it helps to get all the sinuses moistened, and I found that I could continue to take the Hayaz and continue to take care of it. But I was dripping. My nose was dripping while it was dry. And it's not because of the Hayaz necessarily. It's just because...
Well, sometimes the dripping but not dry, for me, I found that it's kind of like my sinuses are trying to swab themselves.
Yeah.
So they're producing moisture that is going to... it's trying to do it itself. But if you swab it or if you do something in your nose to help your sinuses do their job, it helps much faster, because otherwise that dripping can also go down your throat, make more of an itchy throat, make more of a cough, more of a...
And I found that I can't, if I just use Hayaz, if I just use Fection and those sorts of things, I don't get over it as quick. I've got to swab my nose, I've got to treat my ears, and I've got to drink a little bit of cough syrup to treat my throat, because otherwise I chase it around, and I got it, it hit me really nasty on Saturday, and I was over it by Saturday night. Well, I wasn't miserable with it the whole day, but I could still tell that it was there. And so I was over it by Saturday night. Sunday I was feeling great and really didn't take anything. I took maybe 3 Hayaz throughout the day. But while I had it, I took 9 Hayaz throughout the day, and I probably took about 9 or 10 Fection. And then all I did was swab my nose and treat my ears. I put a little bit of oil in my ears and put cotton in after it, and I drank some of our cough syrup, which is nasty stuff, but man, it helps, and it just cleared up. If that was the flu, it was an easy flu to get rid of. I didn't go to the doctor for him to tell me it was the flu, so we're not really curing the flu here, but something that was really nasty with the sinuses and the lungs and all of it, it was gone within a day.
That's how we found it in our house, that it's been like that. I've been kind of having a little wave of it throughout the week, but nothing major hitting me. I had one day feeling a little cold and feverish and stuff, but I just rested all day and kept taking my herbs for the sinus part and everything, and I was over it. And the same with with my kids, when I see something going around or see that other people are having things, we just start, everybody gets cough syrup, everybody gets their nose swabbed. If they have achy ears at all, we treat ears, we do all of that, and then we don't end up with any of it major. I have friends that have had it. Some of them had it for 6 weeks. Some of them had it for 6 days. But we've only had minor. The biggest symptom we've had in our house is that people have been tired. So I'm letting them sleep a little bit more, but keeping their nutrients up, their liquid up, and doing all the normal things that we suggest that people do. The swabbing the nose, the ears.
For me, I don't like being sick, so I don't keep it around more than like 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
When I was in Tennessee, I got the swine flu when all of that was going around.
Oh, lovely.
And I had it for 3 days. I had it for 3 days. I took Fection. I didn't have all of my herbs with me because you guys are in New Mexico. We're in New Mexico, and I couldn't get it fast enough. I was over the flu before you could have got me any herbs. And I had loaned out some herbs to somebody else. So I had some Fection and some other things like that, and I was over it within 3 days, where we had a friend that they had it, and they had it for like 2 weeks.
Wow.
And every one of the friends that I had that was around there were several of them that had caught it, and each one of them had it for about 2 weeks. But each time, I've caught the flu about every year, and I generally get a little bit of it, but I get rid of it within a day or so.
Yeah.
Infection is so phenomenal for your immune system that it just helps to boost it up. And if I know that I need some extra help, I take vitamin D as well. And I generally take about 8 Fection, at least 8 Fection whenever I catch the flu. And vitamin D, I take 1,000 units for every pound of body weight 2 days in a row. And that generally kills it off. And then it depends. Like sometimes you can get a stomach flu, and if it's a stomach flu, I'm using Zyme. But this one was that sinus nasty thing. And so Hayaz, of course. And I've had
the extra strength Hayaz.
Last year I had issues with allergies and used our Hayaz. And this year I had issues with allergies and with this thing. And I used the extra strength Hayaz, and it was much better. I got over it a lot quicker, and I didn't have to take near as many. And trying to think, when I do sinus, the other thing that I do when I take care of my sinus issues is I'll stand in the shower and just have hot water spray on my head, because the heat just helps to open up the sinuses and help with sinus headache. Or I boil some water and put some analgesic in and breathe it in. So you're breathing in that steam or just standing in some heat, getting some hot or really warm air that you breathe in through your sinuses and through your lungs always helps me to get over it a lot quicker too.
Awesome. And I forgot that this year we did also, since the extra strength Hayaz came out. So I've only had that. I mean, it's only been out not even a week now that we've been able to use it. And so my family got to use it this week with how we were feeling. And oh my goodness, I am hooked already. It worked so amazing. I was able to, instead of taking a handful of Hayaz infection, I was able to take like 2 Hayaz and 2 Fection and kick it for a few hours. And then within a day, have it just gone. Just because of that extra strength Hayaz. I absolutely love it. I've been telling everybody I know that's coughing, sneezing, anything, that they got to try this stuff.
I've never with Hayaz, because from my memory, I've always used the other Hayaz we have. I've never not taken at least 3 at a time with Hayaz. And with this one, I found that I can take 1 at a time and do the same thing as when I'm taking 3 or more of the regular Hayaz.
That's awesome.
With the extra strength, it's much, much better. And I notice a lot quicker. I noticed with the other Hayaz, I had to take quite a bit to take care of a sinus headache. So I always had to do the steam and the other things like that. With this extra strength Hayaz, with me being able to take 3 at a time, I didn't have to do as much of the steam and breathing and do a lot of the other extra things and drink some tea and stuff that I usually would have to do with our regular Hayaz. So if you're familiar with our regular Hayaz and you've used it, you should try out the extra strength. It is more expensive, but it's well worth it because you get over it a lot quicker. I think that's everything that I did to take care of my stuff, my sinus. I wanted to do this podcast because I had a client that came in and she was asking some questions, and it was new to her to think about using steam and to think about taking the herbs and knowing what to use and using the cough syrup, and also remembering to treat your sinus, your nose, your ears, and your throat. It's really important because You may get over it for a little while, but it comes right back if you don't treat all of them. Because you can have a sinus infection and it can be chased into your ears, and then you get rid of your sinus infection and you have an ear infection, and then you get rid of your ear infection, it gets chased into your nose or into your throat, and you chase it around. But if you treat all of them, there's nowhere for it to go. You're taking care of it all. So remember, you got something in your sinuses, you got something in upper head, ears, nose, and throat. Another thing to mention is if you find that you do have fever and you're worried about your fever and you're having problems, if you use Throbbys or peppermint tea, that will help to regulate the fever and help it to be productive and go away quicker. Throbbys is generally about 3 or so a day, or multiple times a day, depending on whether or not your fever is gone. If you take 3, if your fever is not better within a couple hours, then I would take 3 more. So 3 to 9 a day on the Hayaz, or if you have peppermint tea, just drinking a cup of peppermint tea every so often will help your fever to be productive and get better quicker.
So some things I took away is catch it fast. If you feel like it's coming on, do something to take care of it. Don't wait until it gets bad. Hayaz, Fection, Throbbys, cough syrup, they're all really, really good things. And so we're excited that you took some time with us, and we will talk with you next time.